Welcome to the Arsenal Show. We are live and we've got plenty to discuss tonight. We're going to have a recap of the Man United loss 3-1. It still hurts. My chest was hurting for a couple of days afterwards. It's still burning now. I cannot get over the fact that we've lost to... They're probably our biggest rivals. We've got Tottenham, yes, Tottenham, but Tottenham have only started being proper rivals now that they actually matter, now that they're involved in some sort of league. But Manchester United, as we know, they're our arch nemesis. Their fans were giving it the big chat before the game, and now they're still giving it the big chat after the game. And here joining me tonight to give that recap is Jerome Marks. How you doing, Jerome?
Yeah, good man. You okay?
I'm okay. Finally over it. Just
recovered.
About. I'm kind of recovered, but there was something about the game the other day that really, really hurt. Yes, we played all right. I thought we played pretty well, to be fair. But it's. I'm not really interested in playing well and losing, and it's a trait that I don't want to have. I'd much rather play badly and win than play well and lose. And I know there's plenty of encouragement to take from the game, but the things that are kind of frustrating or have frustrated me are things we've seen many times before, which is why we're seeing a lot of people turn around and say same old Arsenal. You worked with us on the post-match reaction, but what was your thoughts of the game?
Well, I thought we were so unlucky. I was thinking about it before, like the last time we played that well and actually lost. And I was speaking to my dad and he was saying probably the Man City game at home last season. But apart from that, it's hard to think of the time we've played so well and lost when we haven't deserved to. The goals that they scored, United, I heard this phrase, and I think the phrase is spot on. It was like a few sucker punches. Like that was it. Just caught on the counter attack. And next, before you know it, the ball's in the back of the net. Mm-hmm. But overall, like now there's been a bit of time. But even straight after the game, to be honest, like I'm very optimistic now for the rest of the season. Because I think
so you've taken a lot of positives from the game.
Yeah, massively. I mean, let's face it, if we would have won that game, it'd have been absolutely perfect because you had a very good performance and then you've had the result as well. Mm-hmm. Like, we struggled. Like, we had playing that well at Old Trafford. You know, when we won there 1-0 a couple of seasons ago, I don't think we played as we weren't dominant as that.
No, we weren't.
This was
we weren't
very
as
dominant...
good last season when we lost 2-1 and we felt we should have got a result from the game. But again, for me, it seemed like a very similar situation where it was Man United hit us on the break and scored 2 goals. And they've done the same. They've done the same this time. They were better than us for the first 10.
Yeah,
we soaked that up. We soaked that up, which I think we should get credit for because I think it's very easy for a lot of people to say Man United were dominant in the first 10. But on the flip side, Man United fans or other people or neutrals will say that Man United, when Arsenal were dominant, Arsenal only scored 1 goal. And so their defenders, they can say their defenders played very well and done well to marshal that and see out the dangers. I thought we did that in that first 10. And then after that, when we got that goal, it kind of galvanised us. And even though the goal was chalked off, we were still at it, which I really liked. I really liked.
Yeah.
But again, against the run of play, they went and scored. Yeah. And that stemmed from, well, I can put it up here. It stemmed from I'm gonna get a warning here from YouTube. I don't really care. I don't really care. I really don't care. So yeah, I'm going to pull up the highlights, but this is where it stemmed from. Yeah, this is where it stemmed from. Gabriel Magalhaes, and I'm not digging him out, but look, let's mute that. But Gabriel slides in there. That slide from Gabriel, yeah, which he's so guilty of so often. We've seen Gabriel slide in, go to ground when he doesn't need to. That's the first problem, yeah? The next set of problems continue like a butterfly effect, domino effect, however you want to do it, yeah? Player's gone down. The danger's here with the winger, with the winger. You still got 3 against 3. Plus, if you look at the other 3 that are tracking back, it's essentially 6 versus 3 because one of them's on the floor. Yeah, we go forward. Zinchenko gets drawn in. Zinchenko's getting drawn in, which is left Anthony. So from Gabriel sliding in, everyone shifted. When if they just more observant, looked around, or everyone spoke to each other, they can see that he still had enough men to just cover their man. Then, as soon as Zinchenko comes in, that ball gets played out, and Anthony's free to score the goal. Yeah. That's where the first issue is, and that seems to be what happened on the other 3 goals, on the other 2 goals. Again, against the run of play, they hit us on the counter. The third one, we'll get to that in a bit. The second one was the Marcus Rashford one. Again, pretty much against the run of play. Arsenal scoring was a very good goal, but the chances that we missed, key chances, Odegaard's miss, and then followed up by, was it Gabriel's or was that Saka's miss as well? It's key moments in the game like that where, yes, I know those two opportunities came at 1-0 and we went on to score a bit later on, but it makes a difference about when you score and it kicking the wind out of the opposition team. And I think when we played Man United last season at home, Man United were actually on top of us a large amount of that game, and we scored just after half time by Xhaka, which knocked the wind out of them. They missed the penalty as well. So on top of missing the penalty and Xhaka coming in and scoring, the wind was knocked out of their sails. And I think we just got to make sure that we're more clinical in front of goal going forward, because otherwise situations like this are going to happen. Situations like last season when we were 0-0 against Liverpool. Again, Odegaard missed, and then Liverpool went in to score 2 goals. These are the things that are going to start creeping up in the games against the bigger teams, which we've got to get rid of.
Yeah. I think it will come. I'm not really like worried too much, to be honest. With I know, you can always find fault when you concede goals, but I just think on overall balance, the way that we played was very promising. How we took the game to them. The first 10 minutes, the first period of the game at Old Trafford, you're going to be under the cosh, aren't you? Because the fans are up for it, and it's just the way it goes. Yeah. But we rode it out quite well, and Martinelli's goal was the turning point, wasn't it, when he got disallowed?
So what was your thoughts on the Martinelli goal being disallowed? And first of all, do you think that it was a foul from Odegaard on Christian Eriksen?
I think it's questionable. I don't think, look, every foul, this is been a word that's been very overused. It's subjective, isn't it? Like, everyone's opinion is different. There's not really a black and white line when it comes to fouls. What is a foul to you might not be a foul to me. So
there's some of that are obvious.
There's some like Stonewall like fouls, like Roy Keane's challenge on Haaland all those years ago. No one debates that. That's a foul. But a lot of fouls, it's up for debate. So is that a foul? It could be. It's not like 100% one for me, especially in basically when you slow it down. When you look, I'll come on to this, but when you look at replays, everything looks 10 times worse. And I think if they're going to continue using VAR, I think they should scrap the slow motion replays because it's not realistic. And I don't think they'll ever do it, but they should scrap slow motion, 100%.
I hear what you're saying, because I don't know whether it's a case of scrapping slow motion, but I think that there's too much emphasis on the slow motion, because you can make anything look bad. Like when you look in real time, which is what the referee was about 2-3 yards away from the incident when it happened. In real time, he's not blown up. It's not like it was something he didn't see. He saw it. He was there. But he deemed, and in the tone of the game, where Man United players, there was a couple of solid challenges and they did not get yellow cards. So in the tone of the game, you think this is going to be a game where there's going to be a bit of contact. Yet that was the first foul that I saw where it was looked soft, where it was like, really? And what I don't understand as well is it's meant to be clear and obvious. And if the referee's seen it and he's gone over it 5-10 times, he's looking at different angles. They're looking at different angles. It was even to the point the other day where the referee was looking at VAR for so long that I actually thought this was going to be one of the first ones I've seen in the Premier League where he's overturned it and carried on with his own decision.
Yeah, he looked at it. What did he look at it for? Maybe 40 seconds, like a long time. He must have seen that replay 8 or 9 times, probably, maybe even more. If you're going to pull back fouls like that, you're going to get. You might as well. Obviously, there was a goal involved, but then VAR's going to intervene every 2 minutes. This season, I think that's the maddest, like the loudest I've cheered when we've scored a goal was that goal, because you know that a first goal away at United is going to be so important, maybe more important than it is in other games. Especially with Martinelli, the way, you know, the actual goal itself was quality. You know, you could see it happening as you were watching it. Like, oh my God, he's going through here. He's 1-on-1 with the keeper.
It was like Chelsea, weren't it?
Yeah.
When he scored long ago, when he first come on to the scene.
Because sometimes when there's a goal scored, it just happens like in an instant. Whereas here, you had like a few second build up to it. Yeah. Where you could feel in your head like you're getting excited, and then it happened. It was like, you couldn't believe it. Yeah. By the way, the VAR official, I think that was the VAR official. Was it the VAR official for the Chelsea West Ham game as well? It might have been.
Please don't tell me that.
Because there's definitely an official that's been like suspended because of.
That was. It was.
Lee Mason.
Lee Mason's been suspended. He has been suspended for a week.
So was he the VAR for the Chelsea game and for our game?
Yeah, I think he got suspended for the Chelsea game though, didn't he? Not our game. Yeah,
he got suspended for but I think he was the VAR now.
Yeah. Or was it the Newcastle? It was Newcastle or Aston Villa?
Oh yeah, this is it. Take your pick. Like how many mistakes have there been?
This is what I mean. We don't even know which one this referee was suspended for, because there were so many disgraceful decisions this weekend.
I'll tell you what as well, which I know this topic's been spoken about a lot, but they said at the beginning of the season that they're going to try and let the game flow a bit more, and maybe some tackles they're going to try and not allow physical fouls, but not blow up all the time. And they've just blown up for a foul like that.
The thing is, we've seen that they have tried to play on, but when there has been a foul or there hasn't been a foul, it seems to be the opposite with VAR. They seem to be calling back the ones that the referee's deeming not a foul and is given a foul, and vice versa. Like the one against Arsenal, they deemed it a foul and pulled it back and then cancelled it off. Yet the one against Aston Villa, where Tyrone Mings is holding Bukayo Saka and then throws him away like a piece of rubbish, is not pulled back by VAR and deemed a penalty. So this is what I mean by the inconsistencies. They've looked at the ref, and they've allowed the ref to deem that is not enough of an obvious foul to then call that a penalty. And they've said, okay, it's not that obvious because it is subjective. We're looking at it and like and ahhing. Now, if you're and ahhing in VAR, then it shouldn't be pulled back. Like, what's their decisions? Yeah. What's their tick off? Is it a case of three out of 4 people in VAR have decided actually no, we should give have the ref take a look at that. How is that decided?
Yeah, I'll tell you what it is, Dave. It's like with a lot of, to be honest with you, a lot of jobs in life is they've made a whole big thing about this VAR, blah blah blah. Stockley Park, these are the VAR officials, and I think they get involved because they want to justify their jobs, and they're thinking, if I don't do anything, what's the point of me being here? And they think I've got to get involved. So if I see something, I'll let the ref know. They need to sort it out because it ain't going to get better. If they don't do anything, it's only going to get worse. It's going to affect more teams. More people are going to get annoyed. And with social media, it's all going to blow up. And once, like we saw, I know it's a totally different situation, but like with the Super League, once you start really, really annoying the fans, like their voices get heard and they're loud, and it ain't going to be. It's not a good thing for football. They need to sort it out, and I don't know what they can do. When you hear people like Dermot Gallagher trying to justify decisions on Sky Sports, it's just like it's like he's talking another language. He's from another galaxy. I know he's a referee and he's obviously qualified and he's done exams, but honestly, he ain't got a clue what he's talking about.
No, well, it's referees union, isn't it? It's referees union. They're all still mates. They all still talk to each other. I mean, what mates do refs have except for ref mates? Like that's it. They're your mates. So they're not going to say anything bad about each other. Yes, if it's really obvious, they may say, "I think he might have got this one wrong," but they're not going to dig into each other. But the majority of the time, they go, by the law, no one cares. No one cares. Well, then the law needs to be looked at. Another thing that's a problem for me is they're not like the Referees Association. And the referees are not looking to better themselves. The arrogance within the Referees Association in England is shocking. And now, even worse, you've got what's his name, who's gone upstairs.
Mike Dean?
Mike Dean, who's gone upstairs. The epitome of arrogance when it comes to refereeing. He's now gone upstairs, and within a week of him being upstairs, he had to apologise and got taken off of VAR. This is the problem. This is the problem. They don't think they do not realise how bad they are.
No, look, I mean, it won't help the situation, but I think people have a lot more respect for them if they come out and say, "Look, I've made a mistake." Like it's not it's not a bad thing to admit that you're wrong. Like we're all humans. Like everyone makes mistakes. I make mistakes every single day. I make mistakes, and I'll tell my boss, "Look, I'm sorry. I've made a mistake there." Like what's going to happen? Like you'll learn from it. If you don't admit you're getting things wrong, you're going to keep getting them wrong. There's no acknowledgement that they make mistakes. Like this Dermot Gallagher, anytime there's a decision, 99% he just backs the referee. Like that's not right. Like, come on, I would say use your brain, but
it's hard. But like I see today, Gunnerblog was trying his best to once again stick up for the referees, but you just can't. You genuinely cannot stick up for the referees. He's trying to say that there's 23 people on the pitch. Out of the 23, we're happy to allow mistakes to happen from 22. You've got to be understanding and be grown up in the situation. No, what a load of rubbish. What a load of absolute garbage he's talking. He's talking BBC language. He's talking like he wants to be mainstream and go to the top, because that is the kind of sit on the fence bullshit that I don't want to hear. Absolute rubbish, Gunnerblog. You should look at yourself there, mate. Absolutely look at yourself, because that's a terrible take on what has been going on recently. This is not about referees making mistakes and us not forgiving them, because as Jerome said there, we were happy to forgive a referee with a mistake if he holds up his hands. Yeah, but they're making mistakes on a regular basis, and they're not looking to better themselves. They're not looking to fix it.
Yes, I listen to Gunnerblog quite a lot, and like the podcast that he goes on, like I really enjoy listening to him. To be honest, I think one of his takeaways, or something that he's basically always said, is that in football, let's just admit there's going to be mistakes. Like he doesn't like VAR. He doesn't want it in the game. He wants it gone totally. just admit there's going to be mistakes and just let the game happen. That's like his overriding feeling on it.
Yeah.
Because you're ruining the main point, not the main point, but one of the best feelings is when your team score a goal. And this VAR thing is just taking out all the joy. Like my dad says, what my dad says, like he waits until he celebrates a goal. He waits to get a confirmation email, then he celebrates. Like, but it's the truth. Like I think every time we score, in the back of your mind, you're like, is this like what's wrong? What's happened that is going to cancel this goal? And it's like people said, it's a low scoring sport. Like it's not as if you get hundreds of goals a game. Like no, they got to do something.
Yeah, but the thing is, I think there can be middle ground. Look, we can't forget some of the horrendous mistakes that were made before VAR and before the introduction of the offside with all the lines and all that. Yes, it's finicky. Yes, I don't like it because if you've got a toenail offside, you're offside. Well, that's not what I think that was brought in for. But they're claiming it. They're doing it as offside is offside. Okay, that's it. The problem for me is VAR is still making mistakes. That's the problem for me. That's the big problem. Like I can remember some of the horrendous mistakes that were made before VAR come along. I've seen since VAR's come along some of the decisions that have been turned over that would have been wrong and are played in Arsenal's favour. However, there's so many recently, especially this season, which is you're not getting better. There's no progression. Like this is like the third season that VAR has been about now, and it seems to be getting worse in England, which I just don't get. I don't know what it's like anywhere else in any other countries, but in England, it doesn't seem to be getting any better. And as Arsene Wenger said a good few years ago, the good man himself said,
I think I know what you're going to say.
There'll be no referees representing from the UK at a World Cup. And I think
you can say something else.
No, I don't even know. We can enlighten me with what you think I was going
to
say.
I'll tell you what he said.
But I think either the Euros there were no English referees, and the World Cup I don't think there are any English referees again. So please correct me if I'm wrong there. But we used to have some of the best referees in the world, like when is it Graham? Not Graham Pole, was the other one. It was the bald geezer after Graham Pole. Stuart Webb. Howard Webb. Howard Webb was regarded one of the best. And then since then, we've just gone downhill. Like I don't know what's going on. We should be looking at ourselves to try and improve, and instead, we've got Mike Dean upstairs with his Mr. Arrogant face, and it's not getting any better. So. What was it that Arsene Wenger said, Jerome?
It was something along the lines of something like, when I die, before I choose between heaven and hell, I'm going to ask God where the referees are. Something like that, he said. Yeah.
Classic Arsene Wenger. Let's see what they say in the comment section. They also said that the team in attack would be looked at more favourably. Yes, and that's not happened. It's not happened. It really hasn't. And that's what I'm talking about with regards to the toenail being offside. How is that playing in favour of the attacker? Because it's meant to be a spectacle for people. It's meant to be entertainment, and that's why they were going to sort of be a bit more lenient when it came to goals. They've not done that at all. How can they muck up something so simple? Yeah. Melvin says they don't have to say they made a mistake, as they're not accountable to anyone or anything. They're meant to be accountable, though, aren't they? They're meant to be accountable and potentially pushed down into the championship if they do mess up. That's not happening. VAR should only get involved if the referee makes a clear and obvious error. Even the assistant refs don't seem to flag for an offside now until they get that direction. What I think should maybe potentially happen is, I don't know how this would work, but I saw it the other day where the ref wasn't sure, and you could see he wasn't sure. So he wanted the VAR to get involved. It was like he was waiting and he waited and he waited, and then VAR said, "Let's have a look at this," and it was a pen. But it seemed like the ref weren't sure. So maybe it could be a case of the ref asks. The ref is the one that says, "Okay, was that a foul? I'm not too sure. I'm not 100%. I've let it play on, but could you have a look back at that to see whether it was a foul?" I don't know why I needed to do like an earpiece, like it was actually making a difference. But I just think you're not trying to over-referee a game. Should this be more the referee's assistant? And they say, "Could you have a look at that? I'm not 100% sure." And that leads the ref to be a bit more sort of open about himself and say and willing to admit he might have missed something. I'm sure more refs would want that than it being taken away completely. I don't think taking it away is the answer. I don't think walking halfway up the journey and then turning back halfway through is the answer, as opposed to just getting better. Just get better. I did not see it. That is a classic Arsene Wenger one. Let's quickly look at the other goals that we conceded. Here's another one that kills me a little bit. Where is it? This one here. So this one seemed to come out of nowhere. Man United, Arsenal have the ball. We were on an attack. Man United win the ball back, and out of nowhere, how are three of our defenders on one, yet they still score? That's lack of concentration. That's lack of communication. Like, who's marshalling that defense? Who's in charge at that point there? That's a serious issue for me, and it shows that there's still a long way to go. Yes, we can praise Saliba and sing to high heaven about how good he is and how much potential he is, and he's the new Van Dijk and Rob. Joel was talking earlier on, was talking about how he was better than Rio Ferdinand at 21, which I think is a bit disrespectful, especially when Rio Ferdinand's sitting in front of you, Joel Bowler, that is. Couldn't believe it. It's actually blasphemy, because at the age of 21, Rio Ferdinand was making his moves to Leeds as one of the biggest prospects in Europe. So he's got quite a bit to go before he's filling Rio Ferdinand's boots. But like we can wax lyrical about Saliba there all day long, but he was caught napping. He was caught on the half turn, flat-footed on his heels, not looking around, as you can see there. Where is he? He's there. He's ball watching. He's not looking around him. Rashford is off, gone, and he's the man that's closest to Rashford. And as we know, the final goal, which was what was the final goal? That final goal was, I think that was the one that hurt the most. Oh, that was the final goal, which we talk about now, which was the free subs. A lot has been made of the free subs. Mikel Arteta, after we went 2-1 down, made a substitution of Vieira, took off Odegaard, took off Zinchenko. I can't remember who said took off. But he made 3 changes, and within a minute, Man United went up the other end and scored. It was just open. I think at the point where they've just broken, I think the commentator just said, I think Martinelli's gone to left back, and then they broke through, and then scored the winner. Are you reading too much into the free subs, or do you think Mikel Arteta was commendable for trying something at that point there?
Yeah, like on the face of it, just looking at the stats, it doesn't look great, but I've been quite critical of Arteta sometimes, like waiting too long to change things. And, he was trying to be proactive. We were losing the game. He's got to do something better, make subs than just sort of do nothing. Although we were still playing well, I think both Zinchenko and Odegaard obviously were basically not late fitness tests, but there were doubts whether they were going to play the game anyway. So that might have been planned anyway, that they weren't going to play the whole game. I think it's just a bit unlucky. Like, it just happened like a minute after, so it just looks really bad. But you know, at least he's tried something. He's trying to be a bit proactive.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just super unlucky, to be honest. More than anything else, I'm not reading too much into it.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's one of those things. I think all the goals just bit of either it's bit of bad luck, bit of either communication. Like I said, I think the word is just a few sucker punches, and that was it. Like Rashford, that's how he's only going to score on a breakaway. If they had all the possession and they're playing around our box, that doesn't suit Rashford. He wants to run into lots of space. And yeah, it just suited him. Maybe we could have stopped the pass through from Fernandes, from that little rat. Maybe we could have done better there. But yeah, I think we play that game 10 times. I think we win. We win at least half of those.
Yeah.
And like I said, I was very, very optimistic going forward. Because I think we play like that from now to the rest of the season, which I know is a big ask, but I think we'll do very well.
All right. Yeah. Look, I think we played well, but I think there's a lot of naivety involved in the situation now. I think patience would have played a lot better on our part. Yes, at the substitutions, but more so, I think my mate pointed out to me yesterday when we scored the equaliser. It wasn't so much, we celebrated, but it was get that ball, bring it back to the halfway line. We had so much time. There was no rush. We was doing everything right. We was breaking them down. We was putting them under pressure, and they hit us on the break.
You know what it is? I'll tell you what. Looking back, it's easy to say, but I prefer that mindset of let's go for it rather than right. Let's take it easy. Let's chill for a few minutes. Like I like it. It's positivity. Like it doesn't. It hasn't used to be like that. Normally we go a goal up, and then we defend on the edge of our box. Let them have the ball. Like I'm fine with that. Like I'd rather.
I just think in certain games we've got to be more. We've got to be cuter. We've got to be more. We've got to be smarter. Because if you do this in Europe, you'll get your ass handed to you. Because you have to play the game like a game of chess. It can't be a game of just going toe to toe against these teams because they're just going to hit you. Come hit you on the break. They've got those fast, tricky players that if you're just going to leave it open and everyone's just going to go toe to toe back and forth, you're going to be open. So you've got in those games, and I feel like in the big games, that's where you've got to be a bit smarter. You've just got to be a bit more patient because you're going to get an opportunity, and it's about taking our chances.
Yeah. I'll tell you what's good though. It's good that hopefully, and I think we will learn from this, that it's happened in the 6th game of the season, and we're going to learn early, and it's made Arteta aware maybe of okay, if we play like this, then maybe we need to be a bit smarter. Like when we lose the ball, we need to work harder on that aspect of our game. And that result, that's what it's going to do. Like, you know what Arteta's like. Like everyone says he's very smart. And if he's going to take anything away from that game, conceding those 3 goals, he'll look into that and he'll think, why did we allow that to happen? Because other than that, they didn't look like scoring United. Like, I think, like people have said, that flatters them massively. That ain't a 3-1 game.
It weren't a 3-1. It weren't a 3-1. Yeah. And to people out there, I had to defend us the other day because the same nonsense was coming out. No leaders in the team. Your team lacks leaders. Soft underbelly. What? Man United hit us on the counter attack. Yeah, when you say soft underbelly, it's like when Man United before bullied us. Where were we bullied? Where were we bullied? Tell me where we were bullied, people. Man United fans out there, tell me where we were bullied. We weren't. So this soft underbelly tag nonsense, it's just lazy chat. Soft underbelly, papering over the cracks, no leaders, not had a midfielder since Vieira. Shut up. Shut up. Like, these are such old cliche nonsense tags that Arsenal have had throughout the years. Leaders, yeah? Gabriel Jesus, what, 3 or 4 Premier League titles? Zinchenko, same. Captain of Ukraine, yeah? As a, Thomas Partey is the captain or vice captain of Ghana. Granit Xhaka is the captain of Switzerland. Odegaard's the captain of Norway. Aaron Ramsdale's a leader. Gabriel Magalhaes, once he matures a bit, will be a leader. I feel like he's a little bit immature. That's why I was saying this season will be a season where he matures, where he's a bit under the radar because of Saliba and Ben White. But this is a season where he matures and becomes more of a captain figure. Like, there's leaders in our team. This team is not the same team as you was talking about before. Man United hits on the counter attack. We were naive at points, but the soft underbelly tag, that's nonsense. Nonsense. Didn't get kicked around at all. In fact, the only one doing the kicking around was us. Eriksen fell to the floor when Odegaard brushed past him, and Lokonga was lucky to only get a yellow for his 6 studs in Fernandez's legs, which I didn't mind because he's a little scrote. It was soft anyway. It weren't that bad. It weren't as bad as what, again, that tackle looks a lot worse when you slow it down and you freeze frame it.
Honestly, they got to get rid of slow motion. It's
nonsense.
It's not real.
It was a scrape, but a soft scrape. It was a light scrape on Fernandez. I didn't even think he touched him, but he did.
Look, referees. Games aren't watched in slow motion. They're not refereed in slow motion. So
and you need the full pace of the game to see the ferocity of the challenge, to see to deem how bad it is. Of course you do.
You know what they're looking for on these VAR things? They're not looking for fouls. They're just looking for, was there a touch?
Contact,
that's all they're looking for. Was there contact? And that's it.
Yeah.
They're not looking for fouls. Was there contact? And that's it.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. Let's go to a couple of more questions before we move on. What's the solution? Because getting ex-pros involved to me won't work because they have loyalties and relationships with people in the game. No, I agree to a certain extent. But referees support teams. So, I mean, if someone's going to be involved in this, you've got to trust their integrity to not have those bias. That otherwise they don't get involved. That's where you've got to work out whether they've got that neutral ground. They can be neutral. Johnny, for me, it's simple. Work on how to be better as the referees are now. Look into why 70 or 8% of referees come from the Manchester area. Why are referees not coming from London? Why is it? Because I know a couple of people that were half decent footballers and decided to be refs and stop being refs. Why is it that in London people are not continuing their progress and development from doing it at a young age to being professional refs? Look into that. Look into that. Make more refs, not just from one region in the country, from around the rest of the country. There's so many things they could be looking into, but they're not. And it's arrogance and laziness. What would you do, Nate? Jerome?
I like the idea of ex-players getting involved, but I think the trouble is for the top players, there's not enough money in it for them, so it's not really worth their time. Maybe players that have played at lower leagues, like League 2, Conference, where they probably need to work after they finish playing. Maybe it can be something to look into that, because I think, so I don't want to generalise, but I think you can tell these refs haven't played football. They're not looking at it from a player's point of view. Their understanding of the game comes from somewhere different. It comes from looking at rules and looking at a game via the rules, where when you're playing it or when you have played it, you're understanding the vibe you get and the feeling for the game it's totally different. Like, you can tell when you hear referees talk, they talk as though they've never played. It's like blatantly obvious. So I would like to see players at a lower level that need to work after they finish football, getting them involved in it somehow. but obviously they've got to want to do it. You need people that put their hand up and want to get involved. Look, at the end of the day, it's a thankless job, isn't it? Because you're going to get you probably don't get as much abuse as an official as any other job out there, and people know who you are. So it is a bit of a thankless task, but like you said, there's definitely room for improvement. So we need that improvement.
Definitely room for improvement. Will they do it? Who knows? I doubt it very much. I'm not holding high hopes for the refereeing association to realise that they are not doing the best job and they need to improve on their standards. But hey ho. Okay.
Yeah.
Before we go on, all right. Let's have a look at our players on loan. Jerome, you had a little look at. You've been keeping tabs on a few of the players that have gone on loan.
Yes.
Who have you looked at this week and last week since we wasn't about?
Yeah, so there's been a couple of games. So there's a few players. I'm going to have to just look down at some notes just because there are quite a few games. So obviously the goal scoring sensation from the French league, Nuno Tavares. He's had a bit of a dip in form. He hasn't actually scored the last couple of weeks.
What?
Yeah, so
he just scored a week before that, didn't he? Did they have 3 games in 2 weeks? Have they had?
Yeah. So he did score a couple of weeks ago. But saying that, he played a couple of games recently. Hit the post in both games. So he's definitely getting high up the pitch. That's for sure. He's definitely a very, very much.
Oh well, he never had a problem with that. He never had a problem with getting high up the pitch.
Yeah,
I think it was like knocking a few birds off their perch, which was the problem when he's hitting the top stands of the stadium.
Yeah, he's keeping his knee. He's keeping his knee over the ball in France.
Yeah, he's learning.
Yeah, the way he's playing, the way I saw the last couple of games of his, it's very similar to us. Like the way he played at us, where he'll give away a sloppy ball, but he'll race down the line. Like he really hugs the touchline for this Marseille team, and yeah, he's got some very good attributes. But like we've said, he's very different to our other left backs. But he's playing most of the games. I think one of the games they played like 2 games in a few days, so he did come on at half time in one of the games. But normally he's a starter for them. And yeah, all going well for Nuno Tavares out in France, definitely.
I think Johnny just pointed out that he's had fired shots at Arsenal. What's it say here? It said Arsenal left back Nuno Tavares has revealed that he wanted the option to leave the club permanently as he sealed his loan move to Marseille. Well, I mean, like honestly, who cares?
Can't blame him as well.
Honestly, who cares? Look, he's probably a little bit frustrated at not playing regular first team football, and feels that a move away to Marseille would probably help him settle. But no, you're an Arsenal player. You signed a 5-year contract with Arsenal. You've been here 1 season, so knuckle down and try and get back in the team. Like, I don't want to hear it. I'm sure people like Gwen Dozy ain't going to help being around him because he's a little scrote as well. That kid. Well, he's a man now, but still.
You know what? It wouldn't be in Arsenal's interest because they're not going to get a massive buyout clause, are they, from Marseille? They're going to get 10 million euros. It's not going to be like a lot of money. Like, there's no point.
There's no point. But if people see Tavares play a season on loan at Marseille, his value could go up. There's no loss by him going on loan at Marseille. Like, I think his value would have stayed, if not gone up. His value would have got up more anyway, just because of the athlete that he is, his pace. Like, look, no matter what people think of Nuno Tavares, there's attributes in his game that other people will not have, which you can't teach. Those physical attributes you can't teach. So Arsenal are looking at him and thinking, we can hone his defensive side up and make him a bit more composed. You've got a player there. You've got a 30-40 million pound left back there. So I'm with you, Jerome. There's no Arsenal with no interest in putting that clause in. It wouldn't have made any sense. And Nuno Tavares should just crack on.
Yeah, his strengths really stand out. So he could make blunder after blunder every game, which he won't, but he could, and those strengths would still shine through, and so you would always attract teams because of that. So, yeah. So I'll tell you the next interesting one that we had a look at was Austin Trusty, the guy that we signed from America that went straight on loan to Birmingham. Let's be honest, he probably won't play for Arsenal, but it's interesting to have a look at him. So he's
especially in the Championship as well.
Yeah. So he plays for Birmingham. They had a couple of games recently against Rotherham and Norwich, and they play back three or back five, whatever way you want to look at it. And he's sort of the left centre back. So imagine like when we play a back five, when Tierney plays as the left centre back for us, that's the position he plays. And how I would describe him is a little bit of a similar player to Tyrone Mings, maybe a little bit of not a poor man's Tyrone Mings, but that type of player.
He's a bit of a bosher.
Clearances galore, gets involved in the physical side. Doesn't like stand out as being like a fantastic player at that level, but it's fine. Like I said, I don't think we'll see him at us because I think our standard now is very high. Our standard's so high that people are debating whether Tierney should sort of be in the team or not. And obviously this guy is a million miles away from being at that sort of level. But yeah, he's been playing for Birmingham. And then finally is Balogun in France.
Yes.
And he keeps scoring. The other day he came on after about an hour, scored a penalty, then got an assist in the same game, scored in the other game. So it's really suiting him, this loan. I think an area of his game that he seems to be working on out there is like the hold-up play, because he's getting these defenders coming right up against him, and it's a feature of his game. I think even when you see him playing for Arsenal at youth level, like it is a feature of his game, the hold-up play. So I think that's an area that he'll be working on out there. It doesn't hurt his confidence playing and scoring. He keeps scoring. So like fair play to him.
I think another thing I've noticed about Balogun is with Reims, he seems to be playing a lot more central. Whereas for the under-23s, he was very much on the left and like to cut in, get assists and cut onto his right. But with him playing more central, which I'm probably sure that played a part in him going to Rennes. It feels like he's working on his game there. I think one of his assists was running straight through the middle, laying off to a player, and I think he's just won Player of the Month, didn't he, as well?
Yeah,
very good.
Because I think it's good because when he was on loan at Middlesbrough, like end of last season, like he was playing, but not all the time. He was coming off the bench a bit. Like now, he's playing.
And I think Arteta said himself that they made a mistake in keeping him at Arsenal for the first part of the season, because it would have just been better for him if he would have settled in a team that he'd been there from pre-season, which makes sense, rather than coming into a team halfway through the season, which is why potentially he was disjointed. But I'm not a fan of Chris Wilder anyway. I can't lie. I held it in too long. He rates himself too much. I'm not a fan of him. I'm not a fan of these social justice warriors, and he's definitely one of them. Can't deal with it. All right. Thanks for that, Jerome. Loan watch. Make sure you keep an eye on. Hopefully, we'll have a bit of Marcelo Torres again next week as well, because I've not seen too many of his clips going about. So maybe he's been injured or something. I'd have to check in. I'm sure he's. Have you noticed? Have you seen his dad online? His dad gives all the updates. He's got all the videos. He's brilliant. He's brilliant. Marcelo Flores, his dad. He's always got the updates. Always got the sneaky videos where he's taking videos of the game. Got a lot of time for that. All right, it's time for a FC Zurich preview. Some big games coming up. A nice little run. First of all, we discuss our run of games. Jerome, we've got FC Zurich, followed by Everton at home, then PSV at home, Brentford away. Then we've got those mugs down the road at home, though. Bodo Ghent, Liverpool, Ghent again, Leeds. It's not a run of games. It feels where you can get you could get a serious run. Like if you have a run and win those games, like you're laughing. But it's a run of games where it's a very zigzag. It's like tough, winnable, tough, winnable, 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 tough, winnable. It's like it feels like it could be a game. It could be a run where it could mess up momentum, or the other way, it could lead us onto a serious run if we were to pick up points against, especially Tottenham and Liverpool. What's your thoughts on that run of games?
Honestly, I'm just looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Like just because of how we've been playing. Like I know, obviously the result weren't great, but I think long term, if you're putting in these types of performances, I think ultimately that's going to help when it comes to picking up results. Like I'd much rather be playing like this than like the way we were playing like a couple of years ago, sort of thing. Like this is a million miles better. So I don't really only all those fixtures coming up. Like not just saying it, like bring them on. I'm not looking at any of those fixtures thinking, oh, that's a tough one. I know deep down, obviously they, every game's hard, but I honestly, they play like they've been playing. Like I'm looking forward to it. Like I'm enjoying watching the games again. Obviously, the United game, like you are sitting there, like biting your fingernails most of the time. Like it is hard to enjoy it. But there was times in that game like when the ball went out for a throw, I'm thinking, God, we're playing with it. Like, and that hasn't happened a lot over the last couple of years. So I'm looking forward to them, and it's going to be interesting how strong he goes on Thursday night. So we shall see. We shall see. I guess we'll find out the travelling team tomorrow, probably, like what squad he's going to take. So that'd be interesting.
Yes. I think someone has already posted something saying he's gonna look to take out a very strong squad. How would you play it? Would you be putting out your strongest team? Would you be rotating a few players? Would you be bringing in some fringe players to get some games under their belt? How would you play it?
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't play the strongest team. No way. I think players like Zinchenko and Odegaard, who've obviously been not 100%, I wouldn't play them. I probably wouldn't play Jesus. I'd definitely mix it up a bit.
Look, so what would your starting lineup be?
Probably the new goalie.
Turner.
I'd play Tierney. I'd probably play Tierney left back. I'd maybe play Gabriel and Holding centre backs, and Tomiyasu right back.
And who's centre back? Gabriel and
maybe Gabriel and Holding.
Okay.
And Tomiyasu right back. Midfield, I'd probably stick with Lokonga. I think you might have to play Xhaka because I don't know if
we ain't got a choice. We ain't got a choice. Unless you're going to play Zinchenko central midfield.
Yeah, I wouldn't play Zinchenko.
And he's just come back from an injury, isn't he?
Yeah, I wouldn't play him. So I'd probably play Xhaka, Lokonga with Vieira probably in the middle as well. Then I'd probably play front three, Marquinhos on the right and Nketiah down the middle. It doesn't look like Smith Rowe's going to be ready. So
Smith Rowe picked up an injury in
a warm down.
Yeah, in the warm down.
So I don't know who I would play on the left. I don't know if we've got too many options, to be honest. I wouldn't play Martinelli. I'd save him. If we were playing a much stronger team than Zurich, maybe I'd chuck a couple more in. But I just think Thursday to Sunday is such a short turnaround. Like don't risk. I wouldn't risk anyone like serious. To be honest, I don't know who else there is. I don't know who else could play it.
And then who's the following game? The following game's Everton. Now they've just picked up a draw against Liverpool, so we'll be quite hyped about that because they've not had the best start of the season. Picking up points against their arch rivals Liverpool. Even though it's a derby, and some derbies it doesn't really matter what form you're in, you step up for the derby. But I think that'll give Everton some confidence. And I'm not a fan of Frank Lampard. I think he's Championship level manager, but he's got a plan A. There's not much to it, and if you can break past the plan A, he's never got a plan B. But yeah, there's something about Everton that just always worries me.
The thing is, when we played them last, like they had nothing to play for, did they? They were safe. It's a bit different this time. Like, what sort of team would you play, Kieran?
Tough one.
You'd mix it up.
Do you bring in someone like Reece Nelson for the game?
I don't know if he's fit. If he's fit, I would play him, but otherwise, I don't know if he's fit.
I think I'd start with a Matt Turner in goal. I would also. I'd definitely start with Kieran Tierney at left back, Tomiyasu at right back in his game time. I think I agree with you in Holding and Gabriel. I think Gabriel needs to get that. Like he's had 2 shaky games. I think he needs a game where he's just going to get his head right. Not 2 shaky games. That might be a bit harsh. He's made 2 mistakes in games, which has led to a goal. The second one, I might have been harsh calling it a mistake, but if you keep going to ground when you don't need to go to ground, then it's a mistake, especially when it leads to a goal. Lokonga in middle with Granit Xhaka because we've got no other option. They have to play. Yeah. I'd like to see Marquinhos on the right instead of Saka. Can Martinelli was cramping up in the game beforehand. He's played long periods of the games in all 6 games. So yes, I'd like to rest him. It's a shame that Elmer Smith-Rowe might not potentially be available. If he is, I'd start Elmer Smith-Rowe. And definitely Eddie Nketiah up top. It's definitely Eddie. Because he deserves some minutes now. Other than that, I can't even think who else we have in the squad.
He might have to dip into like the youth team because there isn't really anyone else.
It's still a very light squad, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like he'll probably play players tomorrow that you think, well, they could do with a rest. Like he could well play Martinelli. Like,
we've got Fabio Vieira, haven't we? We've got Fabio Vieira.
I thought he might play as one of the 3 in midfield.
So
Lokonga, Xhaka. Then you're looking for one other.
Lokonga, Xhaka, Vieira. You've already picked Vieira, ain't you? So Lokonga, Xhaka, Vieira. Yeah, our squad's so small. We've named every player. El Nene and Smith-Rowe, I think that they're injured. Cedric Soares, he's another right back, so it's not really an option. Matt Smith is very inexperienced in his central midfielder. Reece Nelson. There's no reason why Reece Nelson can't play. I'd probably start with Reece Nelson if he's fit. He didn't go out on loan. He's still an Arsenal player, and he's English, so I think he doesn't even need to be registered. I think he's automatically registered because he's was here when he was under 23, and he's English. So, yeah, I think that's the team I'd go with. The team that you've gone with. But if Smith-Rowe is available, I'd go with Smith-Rowe over Nelson as well. But yeah, all right. That is all we... Oh, first of all, give us a score prediction. If that's your team.
Yeah, 2-0.
2-0. I'm going to go for a 3-1 victory for Arsenal. I see Marquinhos scoring because he's an absolute beast. I see Lokonga getting a goal, and I see Eddie getting a goal. They're my goal scorers. Give us your score predictions, people. Who are you gone for, Johnny? Johnny's gone for Tommy and Holden at centre back, right back Cedric, left back T. And who you gone in midfield? Quickly, who you gone in midfield, Johnny? I don't understand the rotation of a goalkeeper position, to be honest. I think you play the best keepers always. Johnny, I tell you what, this is why you rotate your goalkeeper, because your goalkeepers need to know your defence. If Aaron Ramsdale suddenly gets injured halfway through the season and Matt Turner has to go in goal for 2 to 3 games, you better hope that Matt Turner has played with his defence, because otherwise he's learning on the job, and that's a problem. Like, that's where you have to, when you can give, you want to keep your goalkeepers in goal, yeah, but when you can give your goalkeeper, your second goalkeeper, an opportunity, you have to play him. You have to play him. Like Matt Turner, he's got to get used to knowing how people play, where they want the ball. There's so many different nuances in the game, and the goalkeeper is such an important position. You can't risk him not playing any games. And I think that's what we've seen previously when we saw from back in the day where your first team goalkeeper played every game from cup game to league game. And when the second goalkeeper came in, there was always a problem because he was just too rusty. And you can't have that. You can't have that. So that's why you have to rotate your goalkeeper. Melvin's gone for a 2-0 victory. Like father, like son. All right. Guess your goal scorers, Melvin, quickly. All right. Before we go, thank you for everyone who's joined us tonight. If you are new to the channel, make sure you press that like and subscribe button. If you are a regular, press that like button, press that share button, and press copy. That's all you've got to do. Feel free to share it to your Facebook. There's no harm. Feel free to throw it on to your Twitter. Again, there's no harm. Quickly. Well, here we go. Where'd it go? Not in Europe, though. That was the League Cup is for. Yeah, but Johnny, we're talking about Zurich. We're talking about Zurich group games. Like, he don't need to be played. Ramsdale don't need to be played. Eddie. I was going for Eddie too. Johnny's gone for Eddie too. Arsenal 2-1. He's gone for Eddie to get 2 goals again. I'd love to see Eddie get 2 goals. All right, that is all we have time for, people. Thanks for joining us tonight, Jerome.
Yeah, of course. Cheers.
And thank you, everyone in the comment sections. Johnny, Melvin, who else we got in there? Baz, good to see you. Nicholas, good to see you. All right, peace out, people. Stay safe and wash your hands.